Hello and welcome to this information session provided by the Retail Energy Code or REC Code Manager. The purpose of this session is to provide you with an overview of the market entry process, which will be particularly useful to any new entrant joining the market. This session has been split into 5 key sections as detailed on this slide. We'd recommend any new entrant to watch this whole video to provide a better understanding of the entry process. However, you'll see that we've indicated the minutes of which each different section starts. So if there's a particular area you'd like to find more information on, please do feel free to jump to that part of this video.
The REC accession process. REC parties. Certain categories of organisation are required to accede to the REC as part of their market role. These include electricity and gas suppliers, electricity distribution network operators, gas transporters, and metering equipment managers. These organisations are required to accede to become a REC party. To apply to accede to the REC as a REC party, you'll first need to create your own REC portal account. You can do this by visiting recportal.co.uk. Once logged in, you'll need to go to the Party Operations section, where you'll see a tab called Applications. This is where you'll be able to complete and submit your REC Party accession application. Once you've submitted your accession application form via the portal, your application will be reviewed to validate all information and confirm that you're eligible to become a party. You'll be contacted if there are any queries or further information is required. Once the application has been accepted by the Code Manager, an accession agreement will be issued to you to sign. Once signed, this will be issued to the Retail Energy Code Company, RECO, to countersign. Once the accession agreement has been signed and completed, you'll receive a REC welcome pack and will be assigned an operational account manager and lead assessor, who will be your first points of call for any questions you might have. Once a new party has successfully acceded to the REC, they enter the entry, assessment and qualification process to become a qualified REC party. Their party details will be updated accordingly on the REC party register located on the REC portal. Non-party REC service users. Certain categories of organisation can apply for access to certain REC services without becoming acceded REC parties. These are called non-party REC service users. The REC services are the Electricity Inquiry Service, or EES, previously known as ECHOS, the Gas Inquiry Service, GES, previously known as DES, the Green Deal Central Charge Database, GDCC, and the Central Switching Service, CSS. Applications for access to these REC services are made via the same application form as REC party accession applications, located in the Party Operations section of the REC portal. Applicants will be able to specify the REC services they are seeking access to within the form on the portal. Once a form has been submitted, the Code Manager will verify the information is correct and that the organisation is eligible to become a non-party REC service user. Once approved and no further information is required, the organisation will enter into the next stages of entry assessment and qualification. This will include completing an Information and Data Protection Assessment, ISDP. Upon completion of this assessment, the organisation will receive an access agreement confirming the REC services it has access to, which will need to be signed. Once signed, the access agreement will need to be countersigned by RECO.
Market entry. So to recap, certain categories of organisation have to accede to become a REC party in line with their market role. This includes gas and electricity suppliers, electricity distribution network operators, gas transporters, and metering equipment managers. Once this process is complete, REC parties will then enter the entry assessment and qualification process, which is set out in the top swim lane above, as shown on screen here. Non-party REC service users will follow the subsequent swim lanes as part of their application to access specific REC services, which can include completion of an information security and data protection assessment and a number of prerequisite conditions. Prerequisites are a list of conditions that applicants must comply with to enter the market. More on that later. Upon receipt of your application made via the REC portal, a member of the Entry Assessment and Qualification team will be in touch to discuss your application and agree an entry assessment plan. This planning conversation will form the basis of your application and allow you to ask any questions to the assessment team. All performers, templates and guidance are available to download direct from the REC portal to support your application with the Retail Energy Code. The first stage of the entry process to become a REC party is the Business Solution Assessment. The Business Solution Assessment focuses on whether you have the processes, technology, people and resources in place to discharge your responsibilities under the REC. The Business Solution Assessment is undertaken by the Code Manager based on the information provided by the applicant within a self-assessment form. Following a risk-based assessment, the Code Manager may raise clarifications, findings or observations on the application and communicate these via the REC portal. Alternatively, if satisfactory, the Code Manager may notify the party that the Business Solution Assessment is complete and confirm the application is to be progressed to the next stage. Internal testing. As part of the internal testing stage, applicants will be required to conduct and submit test evidence to the Code Manager to demonstrate that their systems and processes can operate effectively in the live market. This stage involves the applicant running internal tests to demonstrate their systems and processes can operate against a defined list of market scenarios. A full list of the scenarios can be found in the joint BSc and REC storyboards documented and uploaded on the REC portal. The Code Manager will assess whether the scope of internal testing performed reflects the intended role in the market and how effective testing processes are. Any clarifications, findings or observation raised by the Code Manager can again be viewed and responded to via the REC portal. Information security and data protection assessment. Once internal testing has been completed, REC parties will be required to complete an information security and data protection assessment, otherwise known as an ISDP. Note, non-party REC service users seeking to become an Electricity Inquiry Service User, EES, will also be required to complete an ISDP before access is granted to the service. The ISDP assessment is to ensure that applicants have adequately identified and addressed relevant information security and data protection risks. The applicant will need to complete an ISDP questionnaire, and this will be assessed by the Code Manager. If during this assessment the Code Manager does not gain the necessary level of confidence in the applicant's system and processes, again, feedback will be communicated to the applicant via the REC portal. The applicant is responsible for proposing and carrying out the corrective actions to remediate any issues, if necessary prior to qualification or at a set due date after qualification. Prerequisites. One stage that runs parallel and throughout the full entry process is the prerequisite stage. Prerequisites are a list of conditions that applicants must comply with to enter the market, and the conditions themselves vary based on market role. The prerequisites for a REC party and non-party REC service users are listed below, all of which are outlined in the REC entry assessment information pack online on the REC portal. None of these conditions are above and beyond what applicants are expected to do in order to operate in the market. For example, one of the conditions of an energy supplier is to obtain an energy license. Once the RPA is satisfied with all necessary evidence regarding applicants' systems and processes has been provided, and that the applicant has met all of the relevant requirements as agreed in the entry assessment plan, this includes external testing and prerequisite conditions, the RPA will conclude its assessment of the application and inform the Performance Assurance Board, also known as the PAB, who meet on a regular monthly cycle. If there are unresolved findings or observations, it may be necessary to revisit appropriate parts of the entry assessment process prior to qualification. As mentioned, at each stage of the application process, the code manager may wish to clarify certain areas of the application via the REC portal. However, they may also raise findings or observations as shown. The key difference being a finding will prevent an application from qualification, whereas an observation may be something that is tracked and resolved at a later date.
Data transfer network testing. What is data transfer network testing? The data transfer network enables energy market participants to send and receive messages. This information exchange facilitates a wide range of business critical processes, including change of supplier, metering, and how energy is paid for by suppliers. DTN testing involves demonstrating that you are able to send and receive messages over the DTN based on a number of scenarios that you are likely to encounter once you begin operating in the market. And we have on screen here an example DTN flow. This has been opened in a text file, and it demonstrates the type of information, the format that's shared over the DTN. In terms of how the testing will work, before testing commences, we'll organise a session with you to discuss what to expect and to plan the timing of the testing activities. And to enable you to prepare for the testing, we'll provide you with a number of items before testing commences. In particular, a list of the scenarios that we'll be testing. So there are a number of different scenarios, for example, suppliers, distributors, non-half hourly, half hourly. You'll be provided with the set of scenarios that are appropriate for your entry requirements. We'll also provide you with our REC Code Manager Test Market Participant Identifiers, or MPIDs, and these are what you'll send messages to and receive messages from during the testing. And finally, for the scenarios that we're testing, we'll provide you with the NPANs that will be used, plus any other information that's relevant to those scenarios. In terms of what to expect during the testing will be carried out remotely over Microsoft Teams. For each scenario, you will send and receive the relevant messages over the DTN to our REC Code Manager MPID. Screenshots will be taken demonstrating your ability to successfully send and receive the messages and process the messages within your system. If you can't receive or send a particular message, you'll be given the opportunity to resolve the issue during the session. If this is not feasible, the scenario can be retested at another session when you're ready to do so. We have here an example scenario step. So this is the first step in the supplier non-half hourly exception report processing scenario, where the supplier receives a non-half hourly exception report, a D95, from their appointed data aggregator. So in this scenario, the REC Code Manager will be playing the DA and will send to the supplier undergoing testing a D95 flow. Evidence will then be captured that that flow has been successfully delivered. For example, we have here a screenshot from Web Tools showing a successful D95 delivery. And evidence will also be captured showing successful loading of that flow into the supplier's systems. And this is the first step in the scenario. So we then go through the subsequent steps, sending and receiving those flows and capturing the associated evidence, and then we move on to the next scenario. And once we've been through all of these scenarios and we've completed them, we will compile a report showing the evidence captured and setting out any observations and or findings. And that concludes the DTN testing.
To view your application, first select Party Operations on the taskbar on the left-hand side. On this page, you will see Useful Documents. This is where all key documents relating to the entry assessment process are stored. To view your application, click on the Applications tile. Select the grey arrow on the right-hand side to take you to your application. The first screen that is displayed is the Application Management tab, where you will see an activity log and a document section. The activity log will be used for engagement with the code manager. You will be able to see the next steps of your application here. The document section can be used to upload any supporting evidence. This can be done by clicking Add Documents. Any findings and observations will be communicated to the applicant on the Application Management tab. The status of your application can be viewed on the Application Milestones tab. Here, the Code Manager will update the status of your application. This will be used to track how far through the entry assessment process the applicant is. For a new supplier or DNO, it will show the status of the Business Solution Assessment, Prerequisites, Information Security and Data Protection Assessment, internal testing and external testing prior to qualification. For non-REC party service users, the status of the application will be shown here for the Information Security and Data Protection Assessment and Prerequisites. To view the details of your application, click the Application Details tab. The first tab is the application form, where you can see the details from the initial form that was submitted. To upload a Business Solution Assessment, click the Business Solution tab. To download the assessment form, click the Download the BSA form tab and then complete. To upload the Business Solution Assessment, click the Submit the BSA button. The document can be selected or dragged and dropped from your files. Please insert a description before submitting. Once the description has been added, click Publish for it to be uploaded to the portal, where it will be viewable by the Code Manager. To download the Information Security and Data Protection Assessment, select the Information Security and Data Protection tab. To download the assessment form, click the Download the ISDP form tab and then complete. Once it's complete, select the Submit the ISDP form button. The form can be selected or dragged and dropped from your files. Please insert a description before submitting. Once a description has been added, click Publish and it will be uploaded to the REC portal, where it will be viewable by the Code Manager.
Questions and further information. We hope you found this information session helpful, but if you've got any specific questions or queries, then please do reach out to the REC Code Manager. You can contact us via our inquiries mailbox, you can raise a ticket via the REC portal, or you can also contact your allocated operational account manager. The REC portal also hosts a range of different useful guidance documents and user guides. So first of all, if you access the party management page on the REC portal, you'll see a useful documents section which sets out all the different documents we've described through this information session today. We also have an interactive entry and exit user guide, which is available on the Category 3 page of the REC portal. That draws us to the end of this information session. So thank you all for listening.